Hello everybody, it's your boy Barrett Raven here with Realty Austin in Austin, Texas. So buckle up, Mr. Raven's gonna bring you for a ride today. So we are gonna dive somewhat deep into mortgage loans and appraisals here. Okay, so right now in Austin, the market is hot. So whenever you're making an offer on a home as a buyer, one of the things that you almost have to do is waive your right to terminate the contract because of an under appraisal. So if you're under contract at $400,000 and the house appraises at $380,000, you have to say, you know what, we're gonna cover the difference out of our own pocket. We are not gonna terminate because we under appraise, kinda. So let's back up a little bit. So what the heck is an appraisal? Why does it matter what the appraisal value is? Just who cares? All right, a couple things you need to know. Whenever you get a loan on a home, or that's not the right way to put it. Whenever you get pre-approved for a mortgage, one of the terms is called your interest rate. We kind of intuitively know what that means. But the other term is called your maximum LTV. Now, LTV stands for loan to value ratio. So if you're planning on putting 10% down, your LTV would be the other 90%. Okay, so the bank or the mortgage company will loan you 90% of the home's value. If you're gonna put, let me put it another way. If your maximum LTV was 70%, that means that you have to put at least 30% down. Another example is if your maximum LTV was 95%, you have to put down at least 5%. So if your max LTV is 90%, the bank is basically saying, we will loan you 90% of this home's value. We'll loan you 85%, we'll even loan you 20%, but the most we will loan you is 90%. Now, what's the home's value, right? So according to a mortgage lender, the home's value is either gonna be the price that you're under contract at or the price that the home appraises at, whichever is lower. So hang with me here. Let's say you're buying a $500,000. I'm gonna use like extreme examples here, all right, to try and prove a point. So let's say you're buying a home and you're under contract at $500,000. So you offered the seller $500,000 and the seller said, yeah, cool, I'll take your $500,000 offer. So you're under contract at $500,000 and your max LTV with the lender is 90%, okay? So that means you're gonna put $50,000 down on a $500,000 house. That's the plan, right? $50,000 down payment, $500,000 price. But then, again, I'm using extreme examples here, then you get an appraisal done before you close and the house appraises at $400,000, okay? So that's $100,000 difference, all right? So a lot of people are just like, oh my gosh, like what the heck am I gonna do? I can't do that. What am I gonna do? So you really have two options at that point if you've waived your right to terminate under the appraisal clause. Number one, you can bridge the gap out of your own pocket. Now here's kind of the math of what that would look like. Remember, the lender says, we will loan you 90% of the home's value. And in this case, the home's value would be $400,000. So you're responsible for the other 10%. Okay, so think about that $400,000. Now, instead of coming up with the $50,000 down payment, you come up with the $40,000 down payment because that is that 10% of the home's value that you have to come up with. Okay, so now your down payment is $40,000. And yes, how do you bridge the gap from 400 to 500? You would have to come up with that out of your own pocket. So that's $100,000 clean, all right? So instead of bringing $50,000 like you thought you were gonna have to when you were initially under contract at $500,000, you now have to bring $140,000 to closing, which still totally sucks. But it's not true that you have to bring $100,000 more than you thought. You don't have to bring $150,000 to closing, just $140,000. Again, I'm using a major extreme example here just to show you that by bridging the appraisal gap, it's not like a 1-to-1 ratio there. We don't typically deal with $100,000 appraisal shortages. We deal with like $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 appraisal shortages, okay? Option number two is to really restructure your loan with your mortgage lender. So again, I'm gonna use extreme numbers here to prove a point, but feel free to work this out for yourself with more realistic numbers if you want. Here's what I mean by restructure your loan. Let's say you were buying a $500,000 house and you were putting 50% down, okay? 50%. So you're under contract at $500,000, 50% down, that's $250,000 down, and you appraise it $400,000. Like, that sounds horrible, right? Well, what you could do is you could go to your lender and you could say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Lender, what if I don't put $50,000 down? Is 50%, or sorry, what if I don't put 50% down? Is 50% really my max LTV? You can put significantly less money down and use that savings of money that you're not gonna put down to bridge the gap in the appraisal. Your house payment can stay the same and your cash to close, your down payment plus the appraisal gap will equal what you thought you were gonna have to bring with your down payment in the first place. So those are two options that you have. Just to recap, if you underappraise, not all hope is lost. Option number one, you can bridge the gap, okay, up to the contract price, but it's not a 1-to-1 ratio and it's oftentimes not as bad as people think it'll be. And my example is pretty bad, but I'm using extreme numbers. The second option is really to restructure your loan and ask your lender, is this really my maximum LTV? Can I put down less than I was thinking and then use the down payment savings to bridge the gap in the appraisal and keep my house payment the same and keep my cash to close the same? I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions at all about any of this, but this is a big issue that we're dealing with right now, and I hope this provides just a little bit of clarity. Let me know below in the comments if you have any questions, and I hope to see y'all sooner rather than later. Bye.